truck this morning. It's early, just starting to get light. We're going to pick up some IBC totes. It'll be the first time I've ever picked up and hauled the IBC totes, so first experience for me. So there we've got them loaded in the back of the truck. Hi, Chad here with Purple Collar Life. And you can see I've got totes. So it's the first time I've ever picked up or hauled totes in the truck. I wasn't exactly sure how to do it, but the guy there at the place where I got the totes explained it to me. I think it worked great. You can see we've got 4 here, so it's pretty tall on the back of the 1-ton pickup truck. And I wanted to show you how I put them in the bed and strapped them, because I didn't have any videos on that to reference, and I think this is some really good information that might help you out if you ever need to go pick up 2 or 4 of the IBC totes. So first of all, the IBC totes have a full frame enclosure around them, and that includes the bottom. So these straps that I have going up over top are going through the bottom frame of the top tote and then completely over top of the bottom tote. And that holds them all in place. Now you can see I crisscrossed them here. That's not exactly necessary, but I did like the idea of pulling the back ones forward so that they would help push against the front ones. Now I've seen some people that strap them just straight across, and that seems to work also, because as long as you're pulling down and your straps are tightened up with enough force, it'll hold it in place. Now you do notice some sway. If it wasn't a 1-ton truck with a heavy-duty suspension, I don't know if I'd want to do 4 tanks this tall, because that's a lot of weight up there. I mean, they aren't super heavy, but it's a lot of mass well above the axle of the truck. So when you're on twists and turns, you do feel a little bit of sway as you're going, even in the 1-ton pickup truck. I used the factory anchor points on the truck. These are bolted directly into the bed. So there's one in the back and one in the front. And that's part of what enabled me to crisscross the lines on the other side, was having those anchor points 4 in the bed of the truck. Now obviously at the factory where I got these, they have the huge fork truck, so it wasn't an issue for him to put the stack up in the bed of the truck. It's going to be a little harder for me to get these out. So we'll get them unstrapped and then we'll figure out how we're going to get these down out of the back of the truck. I will admit, the first time loading and hauling these was stressful, but I think it'll be more stressful getting them out of the back. I don't think I can reach into the front too far enough. My plan on the back is to try to get the whole stack up on the forks and lift it easily out with the John Deere. That could be stressful because it could be a little wobbly, topsy-turvy on top. The front ones though, I don't think I can reach in with the forks that far. And I wouldn't want to risk dumping it on the front of the truck. So I might just try to tip this back one off. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it goes. I just hope this video doesn't end up on World's Biggest Fails. As you can see, this is as high up as I can get my forks, so I can't get them to that top bend. Okay, so I put a bungee strap on this side and two on the other side. that was pretty stressful. They are wobbly on there, and the tractor, I mean, that's not too much weight for the tractor by any means, but it was so tall, it just felt really sway-like. Now taking the top one off the bottom should be much easier now. So you can see this is pretty high up here. So I don't have any idea if I'll even be able to get the edge of that to start pulling it out, but I'm gonna give it a try. I can actually slide these by hand backwards, I think. I'm gonna give that a try. Yeah, that's much better. Just another reason of why I need a bigger tractor. It's just, you know, right now these are empty and stacked too high, so that's going to make a big difference. But when I load these with firewood, I'm not sure with this tractor how far I'll even be able to load them before they're too heavy or the tractor's too unstable. I'm going to add 50 pounds of sand, just leaving this bag into the ballast box for a little bit more weight back there. I will say that for me, the second time was much easier than the first and a lot less stressful, so that's good. I think the key is to just go nice and slow. You can see I was gently tipping it back and down, back and down, back and down, because I didn't want to tip too far back and risk it toppling backwards. Didn't want to let it go too far forward as I dropped and hit on the front of the truck. So yeah, a little bit stressful because it's my first time, but a couple more days of this and I'll be really practiced up. You can see what an advantage it is to have a set of forks. Something like this would be not even possible if all I had was the bucket. There are two different sizes of the IBC totes that are available to me. This is the 330 gallon size. The other size is a 275 gallon. It would be the exact same pallet dimension. It would just be not as tall. You can see we got another load of the IBC totes, and I wanted to show you how I strap them. So you can see from the front bottom corner, I go up over top of the first bin, underneath the support of the second bin, the bottom rung, and across. And remember that crisscross is on the other side, and the same with the back. Here's a closer look at where those straps are. You can see this is the top of the first bin, this is the bottom of the second bin. So it goes over that rung, across and through. I keep it in between the first and second supports on the floor there. so that it's kind of in the middle right there where it crisscrosses. But you can see on the front, it was more towards the front. And then the back one, you can see I come up from the truck, go behind the middle support, then I actually cut across and go up to the front support, and then down and crisscross on the other side. You can see how those are crisscrossed. It is a pretty tall load, but we need to get these unloaded. Still really nerve-wracking. Let's see if I'm any better at this the second day than I was at the first. You can see these are actually two different types of IBC totes, and you saw when I toted back, it slid. I use bungee straps on these, pulled fairly tight on each side, so that if they would start to tip one way or another, that helps hold them together. And I'm glad I did that, because I'm afraid that would have slid back forward more towards the tractor, and that would have left a pretty good dent in the hood, I imagine. So you can see that's another good idea. If you're stacking them like this, bungee strap them together to help hold them together. Some people also use a ratchet strap and go around them here to hold them together that way. That would also work really good too. I wanted to show you the really good view you get between the forks. You can see the tip of the forks where they're lined up. Down, you can see exactly where they're going under the tank, under the tote. This one I'm a little bit nervous about. You can see the rail is pretty dinged up. It's bent here in the front, so it's leaning forward, and the rail doesn't sit down in. And this top one still has some fluid in it. Normally I can slide these even double stacked. If I pull on them, this set is really heavy. So I don't know how much fluid's left in there, and if there's also fluid in the bottom one, but I can barely slide these in the truck. You can see I slid the stack back this far so that I can get the forks under it, but this one's making me a little nervous. little scary. This top one has enough fluid in it that not only was it heavy, but it would slosh around. So you can see I took it really slow. As soon as I would see the weight start to lift from the back, I would tote it back, and it's just a nice slow game of keeping it balanced on the forks. And it felt like that was pretty heavy for the forks. Not for the forks, but for the tractor. It felt like it was pretty heavy for the hydraulics. When I would curl and lift, I could hear, you know, when stuff's heavier on the hydraulics, you can kind of hear that noise, and I could hear it. So I don't know what this stack up weighs and how much fluid's left in here, but it must be a lot heavier than the empty sets that I unloaded earlier. You can see how bent up this bottom rail is. That won't affect anything when it's sitting on the ground, but when they're trying to be stacked, you can see it's not set in as good as I'd like it. So there you go. That was my first time ever picking up, hauling, and unloading 4 330-gallon IBC totes. It was a learning adventure. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you to watch, and we'll be getting more of these in the future. We're hoping to get the firewood a little bit more quickly, get it split, work on getting a splitter for us, and then maybe sell some of this firewood. But definitely this storage system will be much better than the previous one. If you watch the video up above, you'll see we're not storing it the right way right now. So this should be much better. We'll be able to cover them up, keep the wood dry, bring it in a lot easier to burn it in the wood stove. If you like videos like this, make sure you click that like button. We really appreciate the comments below. We love reading through what's everybody doing, their opinions on what we're doing. We really like knowing what's going on in your neck of the woods. And if you're not already a subscriber, click that subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you get notified when we put out new videos. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again the next time. If you haven't already watched the practical gifts for him and her and the Blackstone giveaway video, scroll down through our videos until you find it. Watch that video, make sure you're a subscriber, comment down below, and then read the description about that. First of all, there's some great Christmas gift ideas in that list, really practical and useful things. Everybody needs practical and useful gifts. And then also by commenting on that video, as long as you're a public subscriber and read the description and all the rules, you have a chance at winning that Blackstone griddle. We'll be doing that drawing at the end of December, so stay tuned for that. I do think adding that 50 pounds of ballast to the back of the tractor really helped out. With the weight up so high and so tall, it just felt a little wobbly. It felt better with 50 more pounds of sand in the back of the tractor.